Hi, my name is Sammy, and I represent Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I consider myself an eclectic artist because I have various styles and I like to experiment with various genres, and I just love music. I come from a family of musicians. My father is from Puerto Rico, and since I was little, he trained me. He would sit in the house with his guitar, play trio music, which is traditional in my family. And when I was 4, since I could talk, he'd sing songs over and over again. One day he just noticed me in the living room singing along with him to one of the songs he was singing. And he was like, "Come here, Papi, you know this song?" And he would just play it for me and I would sing it. And right from there he was like, it's in his genes, he's got it, he just got it. And it's always tradition when we go to Puerto Rico, family gets together, all my uncles, cousins, we get together, sing, they play guitar, they like to play trio music as well. My uncle's actually in a band called Trio de los Hidalgos. They play that kind of music. But my brother, he's a salsero, he loves salsa, he likes to play the timbales. I play piano, I'm a singer and a songwriter. And I like Latino music obviously because of my background. That's what I do. I like bachata, merengue, salsa, reggaeton. I do those, but I have a very eclectic background, have many cultural backgrounds that influence me. I was born in Queens, New York. I lived there up until I was about 10 years old. That's obviously where I get the Spanish from, I lived in a Spanish environment. Most of the people in the neighborhood, in the community where I lived were Hispanic. Here too. But obviously living in the States, I moved to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina when I was 10. I got also influences from hip-hop, R&B. I like to do R&B, pop music, ballads. I also have a love for reggae and ska, punk type of music. And that's what I think music is all about, is experimenting. Music is an expression, it's an art, it shouldn't have limits. I feel like the music industry has become monotonous because everyone just sticks to their status quo. They have a template, they have a determined template that they just go by, and it's just by default they stick with that style, and there's not much change to it, and it's gotten to a point where music is just boring. I don't like listening to the radio much. If you go through my music selection, my playlist is just random as heck. It'll go from Caribbean Spanish music to Mexican music to ska, punk, reggae to rock to R&B to classic rock. Some of the artists that influence me are Sublime, Daddy Yankee, Aventura, Queen, Wyclef Jean, a myriad of people. But I feel like artists, they stick to their genre, to their status quo, what they're used to, what people are used to hearing from them, because they're afraid of being hated on, criticized. Music is an art, it's an expression. An expression, it's used to express emotion. So if you're feeling something, if you're feeling a certain type of music, why would you not go with it? I'm currently working on a project and I'm calling it Hole in the Wall. And part of that having to do with the place where I grew up. Even though I was born in Queens, New York, I was brought up in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Not many musicians down here that I know of. If there are, they're not really connected. It's not a place that's really known for that kind of stuff. And not many people come from this place that are musicians. Not many people even know much about South Carolina. And if I were to coming out with genres that come from various places, New York, Latin American countries, ska, punk, reggae, as I mentioned earlier, that's like a style that comes from California, R&B, pop, and come from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, that'd be a first. And I always see myself coming out and people just being like, where'd this dude come from, Put South Carolina on the map. And I like to experiment with various genres. as I said. As a kid growing up, I always used to love to sing, songwrite. My parents brought me up singing with my brothers, my dad. I started songwriting when I was 13. When I was 12 or 13, I was in middle school. You know, I was all into hip hop, and they would have me perform at the school pep rallies. I even had a cute little stage name, called me Sammy B. That's when I got into it. I used to write these like hip hop songs with R&B melody, and I would alternate between singing and rapping. I got into reggaeton, getting into my, Latin roots later on, making reggaeton songs, bachata, salsa, merengue. I actually got into that after one of my cousins, a distant cousin. He's in a group called, or was called Son de Tambora. Now they're called Aria Nova. Since I like to songwrite, got in contact with him and offered to write some songs for him. Their group is merengue, so that's how I started writing some merengue songs. I always liked the sound of the group Sublime and other similar artists like Slightly Stupid, The Dirty Heads, people like that. And it's just a beautiful, relaxing sound to it. It's so chill, and I love it. And I do that too. I like Bruno Mars music, and I've always liked R&B. It's soulful, and I have a lot of emotion, so that's usually the main outlet that I use for expressing those emotions. It's where my main inspiration comes from. So the whole concept of hole in the wall comes from this guy coming out of the place where you least expect him to come from, coming out with these different genres of music that you wouldn't even think someone would be capable of doing at the same time. Because to go from something like reggaeton and bachata to something like ska, reggae, R&B, they're just so far apart. And new attracts. So I want to just get out there, surprise the heck out of people, have them go, where did this dude come from? Oh snap, South Carolina. Put it on the map.